Good evening, role players. Hopefully you can hear me. Excellent. I can hear everybody. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. I know it's a little bit later than usual, but I wanted to go ahead and give myself some time after making dinner and all that stuff so that I can be fully present and give a really good rundown of today's topic. So, this is technically a game and gab, but we're going to mostly be talking over a topic where we're probably not going to be doing a game on top of this because this is going to be like a full devoted thing. So that's why I just went ahead and just made it totally about the topic today. Good to see you, Left-Handed Jedi. Lovely to have you. Thanks for joining me, and thank you so much for posting that video. I was following Dungeon and Discourse for some other videos that were relevant to this, and I unfortunately did not get to see this video in time. But perhaps if we have some time left over, we can do like maybe a live reaction or something like that. I just want to be careful. I don't want to, totally take away from the whole video. And typically I like to try to screen beforehand so that I can jump to the big parts. And that way, if you want to see the whole video, you go to their channel instead. But I unfortunately did not have time to do that. I do feel bad, but all right. So all that said, this is going to be a nice cozy discussion. I do want to encourage anybody who is curious about the topic to go ahead and let me know what you think. Just give me questions. And you can join me for a discussion. In fact, so I have never tried the Q&A portion of like the little Q&A feature. So I want to go ahead and try this because apparently it will organize questions and like keep them for me. So I'm going to give them a shot, and we're going to do a live Q&A of what are your questions about the WotC Hasbro controversies? So, what are your questions about the Wizards of the Coast and or Hasbro controversies? Okay, cool. So that'll keep a list for me. I can hover my mouse over and then click the menu. Okay, everyone to see. Very nice. And I can go back and forth between those. Very nice. Okay, cool. And so you should be able to send in questions regarding that Q&A, and it'll stay pinned like that. Very nice. I like it. Cool. All right. So if you have any questions, you can send them in regarding the topic, and I'll be able to make sure to keep track and see how it goes. And then maybe if we have some time, we'll go ahead and do a reaction to that Dungeons and Discourse video that came out a couple of days ago that Left-Handed Jedi sent. So thank you so much, Jedi, for sending that. Okay. Well, so before we get started, we've got the usual stuff. So in order for this to be an ongoing conversation, we need a lot of people with us. And to get more people, we need more engagement. So likes, comments, subscribing, all that stuff. And if you can help me with that, that can make sure that we get more people joining us for the live. And share this with anybody who you think would be interested in this particular topic. And I also planned on doing more topics like this based on your feedback. So if this is something that you want to see more of, one, make sure that you like the stream, and two, give me comments about what's the word I'm looking for? Give me comments about talking about other controversies that you want me to cover. Are there other companies' histories that you want to put in, like you're not sure what's going on, you want a chronology of it, you want to get more of a deep dive and look into a company's business practices, or things like that. And so that's kind of what we're going to go over. We're going to do a timeline of all of the controversies and resulting boycotts for Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. And in case it's not clear, Wizards of the Coast is the company that owns Dungeons and Dragons, and Wizards of the Coast is owned by the parent company Hasbro. So whenever there are, policy decisions that tend to affect like the employees or the product, usually it starts, top down with Hasbro, and then, executives in Wizards of the Coast are then applying to it. So keep in mind that, the employees for Wizards of the Coast tend to be separate from, say, the executives. So there may be, decisions to increase profits that the employees don't agree with. And in fact, we do see that happening when we see a unionized group of Wizards of the Coast employees, which we will discuss as well. So, all that said, if I didn't keep losing my place, I would be able to continue just fine, not have all these breaks. Okay. So, you can join me today if you would like. I do have a link that people can join. Let's see. Let's go ahead and post I wonder if I can pin it at the same time as the Q&A is going. Let's see. We'll go ahead and do a guest. And you should be able to join. Let's see if I can pin this. This will be 18 and up. This is a Discord voice chat. Oops. 18 plus only. And let's see if it'll let me pin it. It does. Cool. Okay. Very good. Excellent. And all right, that'll be our little thing. That if you want to join me to ask questions in voice or to give your opinion in voice, that's how you can do it with me. You can join the Discord voice chat. All right. So aside from that, let's see. Did I do a question of the week? I think I just did. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Our questions. We have a couple of questions of the week. So our questions of the week is, what's your take on the ethics of Wizards of the Coast and or Hasbro? How has learning of their controversial business practices affected your outlook of and consumer habits around them? So you may not be able to form that opinion just yet, but by the end of the stream, hopefully you can form an opinion after the information we've gone through. So, alrighty, let me make sure that we copy and paste that questions and we can get back to it later. Okay. We're going to keep it like that, and we'll pass on the poll just because I've already got the Q&A going. But do remember to like and share the screen so that we can get more people talking about this. Okay. So as you can see here, I've got a timeline here, and this is the timeline that I created to help make it visually organizable. Let's see if I can. I want to see if I can make it a little bit bigger so that it's more visible. Here, we'll pull this up so that I can. There we go. We'll do that for now. Hope that doesn't look too weird. All right. So we're going to start off with the timeline here. And we've got a few things that we're going to go over. So if I can just pull up the right darn tab, there it is. Okay. So here we start all the way in 2023. Let's see if I can just. Why is it not? There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okie dokie. So here we start in 2023 of January. I wonder, how does that look on screen? Does that look weird? Should be able to see it. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can see it. And we get our first major boycott starting January 10th, and it lasts for about 17 days until January 27th. This is the official game license controversy. So the link that I use for the official game license controversy is it's from Games Radar, and it gives you the general idea of what the whole controversy is about. But mainly speaking, let's pull it up here. We'll pull it up in a different tab. And so the general idea is that there was an open games license which allowed third parties to create written products that, could supplement D&D. For instance, I wonder if you guys can see that. I'll let's see if I can zoom in. How's that look? We'll bring this over here, put this right there, and then like that. There we go. All right. So this is, stuff like rule books and the D&D. You would essentially use, you could create adventures, you could create different things like homebrew things that could use the D&D system that was still owned by Wizards of the Coast. There were some restrictions to stop you from utilizing trademarked ideas like Baldur's Gate. It remained largely unchanged since first arriving in 2000. It allowed games like Pathfinder. And Pathfinder emulates earlier editions of D&D. But Wizards of the Coast began talking about revisiting the official game license in 2022 of December. They were thinking that it needed an update so that it would function as originally intended, but without allowing things like third parties to mint D&D NFTs. So NFTs being non-fungible tokens that are used in cryptocurrency. Honestly, they seem to be mostly a scam, but whatever, you can look into that yourself. Anyway, crypto stuff. It would prevent third parties from being able to sell these NFTs for crypto, and large businesses to exploit essentially their IP. So the update would it was the revised version was linked at the beginning of January 2023, and it essentially the original official game license was invalidated, so it could no longer be used. It stated that the Wizards of the Coast had to be notified about and receive a report on the earnings of all monetized content. It said that products using the official game license, which earned over $750,000 per year, must pay Wizards of the Coast a royalty fee of 25%, and then whatever through Kickstarter for all income beyond that point. And it claimed that they had the right to use all of that content in any way that Wizards of the Coast saw fit. It would stop any D&D related crypto stuff, and it allowed the termination of the license for content that is blatantly racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, bigoted, or otherwise discriminatory, which I can't understand that. You don't want people to homebrew stuff with your IP to make hateful garbage. So 100%. However, people did not like that it would essentially kind of it would make sure that people couldn't homebrew the way they wanted to, and then make these changes without Wizards of the Coast essentially kind of being a helicopter parent sort of thing. It started in the industry. So 60,000 people signed an open letter condemning these alterations. Then we had a major dev that broke away from D&D to create its own tabletop RPG system, and Pathfinder publisher Paizo announced a license of its own as well. So it just was a huge domino effect. It also was aside from the businesses, what mainly would happen was fans canceled their online D&D subscriptions, and it crashed the page. Everybody was united against these alterations, and worried about the legalization of deauthorizing the open game license. So then Wizards of the Coast tried to be like, oh, well, we'll amend it. We'll revise it. That was just a draft. And then they were like, there wouldn't be a royalty structure. There wouldn't be financial reporting or registration requirements. Creators would own their own content. That's what people were worried about. They were worried that people wouldn't own their own content. And that, now the OGL wouldn't have been, so like the original official game license wouldn't be invalidated. So it'd still be in practice. And that the main thing that people were worried about, like live streams, virtual tabletops, and any actual plays, weren't affected. However, people, when they gave feedback, were still upset. And because of that, Wizards, they saw they got a poll and surveyed people about the OGL, and they said 88% of those surveyed didn't want to use the new OGL. 89% were dissatisfied with jettisoning the old one, and that the live survey results are clear. You want the original official game license. You want irrevocability. And that was the main idea, was that I guess it would be irrevocability. They wanted this to be an open homebrew license, so that it would always be in the public domain and that they could never revise it. And because of that, that's when you see, bring back the timeline here. That's when you see the first major boycott end for January 27th, because why is my description not showing up? That's so strange. Okay, whatever. That's fine. We'll deal with it. January 27th, Wizard of the Coast backs down and the boycott ends after they back down. So that was our first major boycott. Hopefully, I'm trying to get through this quicker than that, but it was kind of a complicated situation going on with the OGL. So that was the first one, and it was a successful boycott. It was such a huge, overwhelming response that Wizards was like, all right, never mind. We're not going to do revising. The game license will stay as is. However, that does not change. I mean, the OGL, like, that's, sorry, things change later. However, the OGL, as far as I know, has been untouched since then. So, that has been successful, and people have been able to keep their homebrew IP exactly as they wish. However, I do understand being able to have at least some say over whether or not people use your IP to, do like really awful things. Like, what if someone did an entire like anti-Semitic flavored D&D game or homebrew stuff? That would be really, gross and upsetting. However, the problem was that they had so much like added on top of it that it made it so that especially small home brewers couldn't continuously like report. They had to continuously report what they were doing, and that's kind of a like I get it. You don't want to have to deal with all that, but the main idea was people didn't like that they could just revise the open game license whenever they wanted. Real quick, I'm going to take a drink and then I'll continue. Okay. All right. So then our next controversy pops up in the same year on April 23rd. This one was a big one. So this was unrelated to D&D, but it still involved Wizards of the Coast. And we'll see. I'm going to be covering Wizards of the Coast properties that are like all tabletop. So that will include Magic the Gathering Arena, D&D, and then we're also going to get a little bit of Hasbro stuff that has brought up more concerns about total business practices. So this is going to be a little bit more comprehensive than just you know, just covering D&D. Because what happens with Magic the Gathering also affects how people want to support Wizards of the Coast. So the people who have stopped purchasing D&D products and stopped using D&D Beyond have also cited the treatment of Magic the Gathering Arena developers as a problem, and one of the reasons why they don't want to support Wizards of the Coast anymore, and therefore will stop the D&D products. So I wanted to make sure that we're comprehensive with that. So April 23rd, 2023. Let me make sure I pull this up. Here we go. We get our second major boycott. This starts right around April 23rd, 24th. So it's like April 23rd, you get the person who was affected by it reporting what happened. But then April 24th, I think, is when you get the confirmation. So on April 24th, Gizmodo is either Gizmodo or hold on one second. I gotta pull up the external link. It's either Gizmodo or who else? Who else got the confirmation? Let's see. When asked for comment, Wizards of the Coast confirmed that the video, its allegations, and the alleged Pinkerton agents were a part of their investigation. So it was Gizmodo. When asked for clarification, the company said it had no additional details to share and did not deny the hiring of Pinkerton to aid the product retrieval. IO9 has reached out to old school MtG for comment. Okay. That might have been a mix up there. Anyway, so as you can see here, this was the article that talks about how a Magic the Gathering fan was allegedly set upon by Pinkertons for unreleased cards. So they were leaked cards. Now, there's a bit of some unknowns going on here. The YouTuber makes some claims that I don't know if they can be verified, and they might be a little bit sketchy. However, we do know for sure that Wizards of the Coast did send the Pinkertons to collect these leaked cards, which people were very worried that this was a complete it was overkill, you know. So the YouTuber claims that this was an accident, that they didn't know that these cards weren't already released, because they thought it was regular March of the Machine, which was apparently a set that had already been released, but there was a brand new one coming up that had the additional title, March of the Machine, The Aftermath. But the thing is that I don't know, the box is pretty clear. The box art is pretty clear about, you know, what it looks. So it seemed to me like he was filming these cards, like maybe he initially didn't mean to get them, you know, it was sold to him as you know, accidentally, but filming them, the unboxing of them, I think shows a little bit more intention than he lets on. However, that does not excuse the use of the Pinkertons, and I will explain to you why, for people who maybe aren't in the U.S. and don't know the history of the Pinkertons. So leaks are held, pretty tightly. Wizards of the Coast refuses to allow those individuals early access in the future. So um, the consequences for leakers are simple and effective, but it's slightly more unusual for Wizards to allegedly send Pinkerton agents to a man's house in order to retrieve stolen goods. It does not seem that they were stolen. So, but that's essentially that was uh, their excuse for sending the Pinkertons. They're saying that it was stolen. That doesn't as it looks like this YouTuber known as Old School MtG. He was uploading videos of himself opening packs of the new unreleased Magic the Gathering set, March of the Machine, the Aftermath. He uploaded those videos. It made headlines. He was alleged to have 22 boxes and uploaded multiple videos of that week. It seems he leaked about 75% of the entire set, and that the set was scheduled to be released a few weeks later on May 12th, whereas this was April. It was like in the April 20s or so. The whole thing happened, like the Pinkertons were sent a little bit before, like April 23rd or something like that. Official reveals were set to begin at the start of that month. Sunday, April 23rd, the YouTuber uploaded a video titled The Aftermath of the Aftermath, Everything is Gone. And he described how Pinkerton agents allegedly showed up at his door that morning, demanding the return of the Magic Guards. Pinkerton is a risk management and security firm that many people associate with agents sent to undermine unions in the early 1900s. They would infiltrate those unions in order to prevent unionists from gaining employment. They would recruit goon squads. They would act as security guards for management, and they would undermine strikes. Pinkertons, the biggest U.S. history with the Pinkertons, is that they were a part of the Battle of Blair Mountain. That was the largest labor uprising in the United States. It is widely known as a group that intimidates people and forces them to comply immediately. It's what you do when you don't want any of your own employees associated with whatever actions you want them to do. And if there are any like lawsuits or anything, essentially it goes to Pinkerton instead of the company that hired them. So according to his video, the Pinkertons allegedly asked the YouTuber to turn over the stolen product. So the cards that were apparently leaked. They collected the cards, the boxes they came in, and even the foil that the booster sets were wrapped in. The YouTuber stated that the agents counted the cards to make sure they retrieved all of them. In the video, the YouTuber said that the agents also mentioned jail time while they were speaking to him and his wife. The agents gave him a name and number at Wizards of the Coast, allegedly told him to delete the videos he posted onto YouTube, and left. So the YouTuber claims that it was a mix-up. He says that it was a complete accident that he received those cards ahead of time. He said that he purchased the booster boxers from a friend who is not really a Magic player and is much more invested in other trading card games. Because the earlier set of cards was titled March of the Machine and was released on April 21st, the YouTuber suspects that his supplier simply didn't realize that the cards he was selling was a different unreleased set, confusing March of the Machine, the old set, for March of the Machine, the Aftermath. However, here's where the problem is. Totally get it. That could be like if it's like an independent, supplier, 100% get it. However, the fact that the YouTuber then went on to release videos of him unpackaging the uh, this set. I mean, there was no way that you could look at all the packaging for that and be like, oh yeah, this is the March of the Machine original, the uh not the new stuff. Like it was just too obvious. And here, let's see if I can show you the packaging here. Here you go. So this is, let's pull up MTG March of the Machine Aftermath. Let's see if we can pull up the packaging. So the packaging is pretty different. Though this might be a more recent. Let's see if
Welcome back, Cardboard Warriors. How's everybody out there doing today? It's been a crazy month.
Yeah, because this is his old stuff. So this is March of the Machine. This is the stuff that he got. So keep in mind that the old videos that he had of him unboxing everything was gone. So what he's showing here is the original March of the Machine, I'm pretty sure, especially because it doesn't have like the aftermath on it. But you can see over here, original release box. Yeah, like this looks so different. That's the epilogue booster. All of the packs look very different. Let's see if we can. It was like a collector box. This is what it looked like, I think. I'll open imaging tab, see if we can blow it up a little bit. Yeah, you can see this looks so different in comparison. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, it's a little bit out of frame here. Pull that up. Yeah, you can see that that's super different from this, the older version right here. You can see the older version this way. It seems very hard for you to unbox this other set and be like, yeah, no, that's the old version. I totally didn't know that this is the new sort of thing. Anyway, you know, essentially, I don't think it was the guy's fault that he got his hands on it, but it might have been his fault that he unboxed it online and leaked it, and then obviously, had hell to pay. But he should not have had the Pinkertons sent after him because it's not like he stole it. That was ridiculous. And then also threatening jail time. I don't know. I don't think Wizards of the Coast confirmed that there are any threats of litigation. But it is clear that the guy was like things were settled because he didn't make a fuss after it. He talked with somebody, like he called somebody and he said when he got on the phone with the Wizards of the Coast rep, he says that the man was apologetic and they needed all the product back in order to plug the hole, so the leak. He describes the interaction as nice and laid back, and it appears as if Wizards of the Coast was apologetic about sending literal Pinkerton agents to his house. Well, if you're apologetic, then don't send the freaking agents in the first place. Anyway. And like I said, they confirmed that the video, its allegations, and the alleged Pinkerton agents were a part of their investigation. And they didn't deny the hiring of Pinkerton to aid in the product retrieval. So this created quite the stir. And because of that, there was, I mean, it was the next big major boycott. And it started April 24th. However, it's hard to know exactly how long it lasted because it kind of petered out. Let's make sure that you can see this all right. So it sort of petered out, and there wasn't enough traction to really make it like a problem for Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro. There was really no significant results. However, this was a problem for their image because now they are associated with hiring the Pinkertons, which becomes a problem when Wizards of the Coast employees unionize later, because we know that the Pinkertons can be used to intimidate and bust unions. So, all that said, we see Jedi say, God's Teeth. I haven't heard that name, the Pinkertons, in 30 years. Last time was the Call of Cthulhu session. I totally get you. All right. So, we're going to do a quick... We'll try and make it faster. Gosh, how do I get through these faster? We'll go through that quickly. We'll go through that quickly. And it'll be the union that we'll really need to cover. So the union will be a big one. So anyway, that was April of 2023. And then we see a jump until 2024 of June. But real quick, let's take a moment. We'll step back for a minute. And right now we're still going over the timeline. Remember, our questions of the week are: what's your take on the ethics of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro? How has learning so far of their controversial business practices affected your outlook of and consumer habits around them? With all that, let me know in the comments what you think of... we'll go ahead and close this OGL. We don't need that anymore. And then we'll go ahead and close these. But yeah, so, people were, people were angry about this, and it wasn't a great look. People that should have been handled discreetly, people say. However, there are also some people saying that, it's not like you could send anybody who was associated with the company, like a lawyer or another employee, because they didn't want, in case there would have been any legal problems, they didn't want their employees to be wrapped up in the litigation. If you wanted to send, say, like a private eye sort of company or something like that, Pinkerton was probably not the way to go. It is a very heavily established company, and yes, they've got the major resources. So if you were going to hire anybody to try and retrieve property that was not meant to get out, then, that apparently they're like the #1 agency. However, I find it it's capitalistic hellscape is what I'm getting. Like, there was just no need for this. And it sounded like they were pretty intimidating when they went about it, trying to threaten litigation. And apparently there was also, let's see, did he say that they were going around the neighborhood, knocking on people's doors, saying that he's in trouble? Let's see. That might have been another source, and I can't confirm that. Yeah, I can't confirm that that's what happened. I would recommend going through the video because he'll go over all of it. But yeah, all I can get is their main interaction with him. So whether or not they actually went through the neighborhood trying to make him seem like he's in trouble, I can't verify that. Hasbro, yeah, Jedi. Hasbro has mismanaged things so poorly for so long. That like constant grab for money has been a huge problem. 1 second, let me get a drink here. You know, it looks so awful every time I take a drink because it can't track my face. Let me just pause for a minute. I'm just gonna hide the avatar for a second, and then I'm gonna take a drink real quick. Okay. All right. I gotta try and speed through this because we are running out of time. Because we're gonna go for 1 more hour, I believe, and I need to get through this. We probably won't have time to do the reaction to the video, and I've got more that I want to cover beyond the timeline. Okay, so let's move on. And let me make sure that you can see this. Boy, I need another monitor bad. I'm pretty sure I have an extra one. I just have to find a way to hook it up. All right. So then on June 5th of 2024, we get a bit of a backlash because Wizards of the Coast posts a job listing for a principal AI engineer. People were like, bro, we don't want AI in our Dungeons and Dragons content. Like, you promised you weren't going to do that. However, the response from Wizards of the Coast is that it was just a role for future video game projects. And we get that with this one. Where they said it's essentially this article said it seems video games and tabletop experiences have different business models for Wizards of the Coast. So they're like, well, it's not hardcore. It's not the in-person tabletop stuff. So therefore, it's fine if we use AI. So their quote was, "Our stance on AI hasn't changed," Wizards of the Coast said. "This job description is for a role for future video game projects." You can reference our AI FAQ with that generative AI art sort of thing. The FAQ says the company asks its artists, writers, and creatives contributing to the Magic trading card game and the D&D tabletop role-playing game to refrain from using AI generative tools to create Final Magic or D&D products. The article writer, the author says, "It seems to me AI is a no-no for Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering, at least not from freelancers, but it goes with other projects or video games." So essentially, they're like, yeah, for the art, strictly for the like in-person books and promos and all that stuff, the art is no AI. But everything else, well, they can use it and they don't see a problem with it. There was no boycott from this. So at least there wasn't enough traction, even though there might have been calls, but it does set the stage for calls in 2026. And we'll bring that up. Then there is a minor boycott in August 26th of 2024. So this is just, let's see, that was what, June? Yeah, June. So 2 months later, we get a minor boycott that Oh, looks like it accidentally put it as something that is still continuing. This ended like within days, so this was not like an ongoing thing. So there was a minor boycott over a forced migration of 5E 2014 to 5.5E 2024 rules, and then Wizards of the Coast walked it back days later, and the boycott ended. So it was literally super short. So this was, let's see, let's make sure that you can see this. So days after warning players that they would need to homebrew old rules, D&D Beyond has walked back its planned 2024 rules update plans. So the reason why there was a problem was on D&D Beyond, all of their all of their tools, their character pages, all that stuff uses the set of rules that are current. However, you could go back to the legacy 2014 rules whenever you wanted, but Wizards of the Coast said that they wanted to make it so that players couldn't opt to they include a number of troubling changes for players not opting to switch to the new D&D 2024 rule set. So those not like they wanted to use 2014 and not the new stuff, they would find that their character sheet functionality would be limited without making considerable changes, as core rules, spells, magic items, and more would all be updated on the D&D Beyond character sheet and rolls to the new rule set whether they wanted it or not. So it would be they would be forced to stop using 2014 and to start using 2024. And if they wanted to refer back to the 2014 rule set for their character sheets and all that stuff, they would have to use the homebrew tool to by hand like manually go through all the different like spells and items and rules and all that stuff just to implement the old stuff, because everything would be forcibly migrated to the new 2024 rules. People were pissed, and they changed it shortly afterwards because it was like such an unnecessary fuss that Wizards of the Coast did. It's like, why would you force them to not be able to use the legacy options? That's so silly. What's the point? It doesn't consolidate things. They already had the inclusion of both rules, as far as I know. They walked back the proposed updates. Players who only have access to the 2014 Player's Handbook will maintain their character options, spells, and magical items in their character sheets. Players with access to both can select from both sources when creating new characters. Players will not need to rely on homebrew to use their 2014 player options, including spells and magic items, as recommended in previous change logs. So it was pretty quick. It's so funny. Like, I honestly don't even see the profit in doing that. Like, a lot of these issues come from trying to make a quick buck, and I just don't even see how this helped anybody. Jedi says, whoever they hired for their processes to create new materials need to be fired. Do what works and keep the fans happy. Exactly. 100%. I agree. All right. So hopefully that was quick. Still a little bit too long than I wanted, but all righty. We will move on to the next thing, which this might be a little confusing, but it should be May 2nd of 2026 this year. We jump from there to the union request for the Magic the Gathering Arena developers. So May 1st, developers of Magic the Gathering Arena unionize and or at least begin the process to start their arm of the union. and send a voluntary recognition of their union request to Hasbro. After 4 days, Hasbro purposefully fails to meet the deadline for voluntarily recognizing the union. Here is the source for that. It's by game developer. Magic the Gathering Arena developers have successfully unionized. This is a report that happened later. The one where, let's see here. They said, here it is. This is what I was looking for. So they unionized in a voluntary recognition of their union request to Hasbro. Really? What the hell? I'm so sorry. I'm not sure why. Oh, is it because it was a... Was it... Did I get it wrong? Here it is. Okay, so the developers of Magic the Gathering Arena, supported by the Communication Workers of America, have not yet received voluntary recognition of their union from Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, despite a request made by May 1st. The union pointed out the absence of a direct reply from the company to their appeal. They criticized management's response, which was only addressed in the media, despite the company's purported dedication to listening and valuing each employee. They used very corporate response. It was only to the media. They obviously didn't really give a shit about what the union was going to be. They were not for this. Very obviously. The company stated, so this is prior to the request. Wizards of the Coast acknowledged to Kotaku that they were examining the union's filing. They emphasized their commitment to creating a supportive and attentive workplace. The company stated, we have received the filing and are reviewing it carefully, reaffirming the significant connection with their employees and the importance of direct relations to inspire enthusiasm for their games. That's clearly bullshit. Because they didn't respond. And they weren't going to voluntarily recognize them. So, that means that a third major boycott starts. Was it May 21st? Yes, May 21st. Because... this was several days later. So that was the voluntary union request that was ignored. And then on May 21st, a letter comes out where Hasbro tried to quietly pressure Wizards of the Coast employees to not join the union. And their known affiliation with Pinkertons fanned public outrage. So a third major boycott begins, and it lasts until this arm, the Wizards of the Coast, United Wizards of the Coast, successfully unionizes, whether or not Hasbro cared. So let's see, that's officially unionized. I am looking for, here, we'll go with, union. That's what they're going for. They declined to voluntarily recognize. Here we go. Wizards of the Coast begs staff to think twice before voting to unionize. So the United Video Games Workers, CWA, saying it may be helpful to understand how union representation works before proceeding to spread old lies about how union representation works is unfortunately both crazy and very predictable. So this is Tammy. I got a very special letter from work, but so far no union toughs has shown up to my house as forewarned. Maybe it's because they're already here. I have no idea if anybody was actually physically intimidated or anything, but there was this letter which was essentially pressuring this may not be good for you. Then we have United Wizards of the Coast. Since the announcement of our union, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro have hired Fisher Phillips, a union avoidance firm, and chosen to engage in a daily union avoidance campaign by sending emails to the arena team that is spreading misinformation and sowing fear among our colleagues. The big problem is that after they unionized, union leaders say that they have not collectively received any communication directly from Wizards of the Coast as a union. So the company responded to the union petition via a statement sent to the press and has said nothing else since. The union has also claimed the company hired those employer advocacy lawyers, Fisher Phillips, to represent them in union matters, and has been engaging in a daily union avoidance campaign and all that stuff. Kotaku reached out to Wizards of the Coast for comment. Looks like they may have not received a response. The reason why they're unionizing is response to recent decisions by Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro leadership that have not aligned with the values of their employees. The union is asking for better layoff and remote work protections and clear guidelines and protections around generative AI, among other things. Recently, those involved stated on the union's website account that they have 75% support among their colleagues. So, meaning everybody who's like been a developer for the Magic the Gathering arena, they have 75% of that. Let's see, what is it? It is, where's the gosh darn, here it is. So they go over what they want. And that is with the labor disputes. So we'll return to this when we go back to what concerns remain with Wizards of the Coast. But you see, essentially a boycott breaks out because, and this is like a big official boycott. We've got people from the industry and consumers both boycotting Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro to, essentially, work with the union until the National Labor Relations Board vote. The National Labor Relations Board vote happened June 25th. So this was May 21st until June 25th, for about a month. And when the United Wizards of the Coast successfully unionizes, that major boycott ends. So we see that they had been attempting to unionize, and those were their things. Employees initially asked the Wizards to voluntarily recognize that request ultimately fell on deaf ears. And some reports indicated that Wizards of the Coast was actively trying to discourage employees from unionizing. Employees participated in an NLRB election on June 2nd to decide whether or not to unionize, and the majority of participants voted in favor of the move. So they officially became United Wizards of the Coast Communication Workers affiliation. So that was successful. However, just because they unionized doesn't mean that they have, gone through all of their concerns. So that third major boycott ended. And we're going to see how this affects people's concerns later. But that's for the timeline. And then we get another bit of, we get some calls for boycott, but I don't think anything, I can't find anything that says that there was any like major problems with it. There was like actual, there was no like traction for a big boycott, mostly because this one was a little bit more nuanced than before. So this one was different. I actually got confused initially when I was looking at this because I didn't realize that there was a difference between the listings and the dates. So the first date was a principal AI engineer. This one that occurred, I think, 2 years later, Yeah, see here, this was in 2024, principal AI engineer listing. And then in 2026, you get the senior AI engineer listing. And there was some backlash against Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast advertises a hiring position for a senior AI engineer that would design, build, and deploy scalable systems for intelligent generation of player assistance, tutorials, and NPC behaviors, despite their pledge to not use AI in their products. However, as we can see, the loophole seems to be that they're only worried about not using AI in their art, not necessarily in their other products. They did say that they weren't going to put it in their writing, but we'll see what that tends to pan out to. As far as for any virtual tabletops, virtual like character cards, any use of D&D Beyond, they seem to have no problem with using that. The last bit of backlash that is the most recent, particularly last week when I was doing this, was June 26, 2026 of this year. Again, please ignore this whole thing. I put it as like a time thing, like this is a single event, but for some reason it tries to make it a time period, even though this was a time period instead. Anyway, it was being confusing, but hopefully you can see this, where their Hasbro specifically. So this was not related to Wizards of the Coast. There was a Hasbro AI contract that was given to child voice actors that seems to be for Peppa Pig. So the let me pull it up so that I can see it. We will pull up the, here we go. We'll pull up the actual source that I used. D&D and Magic owner Hasbro is reportedly trying to get child actors from Peppa Pig to sign away their voices to AI. So there was an open letter from the Agents of Young Performers Association. They did not state which company was doing it and for what project. However, a report from Deadline linked the letter to Peppa Pig, and based on the known the known companies that the AYPA was working with, and also the reports of new contracts and things like that, seems that it was most likely Hasbro that this was about. The letter read that a major studio who owns the IP for an international children's franchise producing a long-running animated television series has offered contracts to child voice actors, insisting that they agree to the use of AI, thus allowing them to use the child's voice in all commercial assets with their franchise. And there was a refusal to remove this clause with an attitude of take it or leave it. So the AYPA wrote that letter to make it clear that it will not be accepted and that they wanted to bring the matter to the attention of the wider industry. And there was over 1,000 confirmed signatures for the open letter. Hasbro's track record over the past decade has been poor. So that's when they got the Pinkertons thing. And part of the union was that they laid off 1,100 people, including those involved with the deal that produced Baldur's Gate 3 and engaged in both heavy anti-union action and has an AI-obsessed CEO. And then it had some issues with VTT Sigil and Jedi Fallen Order director. So this is still a developing thing. There's whether or not this becomes an industry boycott, I think is yet to be seen. I last looked this up let's see. I think it was Friday. No, Saturday night. I looked this up Saturday night. So things are still development. And if there's more that you guys find that you want to cover, we certainly can. Jedi says, I think that was earlier this year. The vote was a landslide. Yeah, so the vote happened at the end of June. They have a job listing for an AI expert for Hasbro. They want AI DMs. That is a big concern right now. That the AI changes that they want to do for the virtual tabletop for D&D Beyond will ultimately lead to, essentially, they want to make it so that it isn't just dungeon masters that are buying their stuff. They want individual players to be like subscribing and buying stuff. They want to expand their market base and to get as many people buying their stuff as possible. And by making it so that players are paying individually to have an AI dungeon master, then you essentially don't have to worry about having just the dungeon master buy the stuff and then sharing it with the group, which would cut into their profits. So we'll talk a little bit about how this will affect it. That is essentially where things could lead. I will go over how exactly things could lead there with what information we know from the senior AI listing, a senior AI engineer listing. But keep in mind that everything is pretty vague at the moment. So where they want to go with it is up in the air. But we know that the efforts that they've done so far will cut into the essential role play experience for dungeon masters. How we know that we've confirmed that they want to create AI NPCs where instead of the dungeon master role playing the NPCs, you pay to have known characters join the game and role played by AI, which really, part of the main experience as a dungeon master is being able to role play NPCs. And that's some of the most fun part of playing as a dungeon master. So that would really suck. Oh, hey, Anarchic Fox, good to see you. From the get-go, they have been reducing and producing little to no support for people running the game, and that was the first step towards pushing AI DMs. It's definitely been concerning where things have gone with that, yeah. And we'll get into some of the details here. So that was the timeline so far. Current day is that any actual current boycotts, they seem to solely be informal and done by the consumer. So there's no major organization, there's no industry boycott or anything, as far as I know, as far as I can tell right now. However, that thing with the child actors being given a contract that would ensure that their voices are they become AI assets and can be used to essentially replace them later. And it was you can either sign this contract as is or you can leave. that could end to an industry boycott if enough traction pulls up with it. This has also been an ongoing trend where people are trying to get more and more actors, especially voice actors, to sign away their voices to AI replication, and that would essentially like replace them. The big problem is when you do it to child actors, they can't understand how this will affect them in the future, especially if they're very young. And you usually have parents making these decisions for them, which, look, I gotta be honest, I really struggle with the ethics of child actors. It seems to me that unless they're old enough to like really be able to say like, I understand what this is, what it leads to, and I agree to it, like I find it hard to see the ethics behind it, like if there are any good ethics. Yeah, I just think that whole situation is not good, but that's just me, There are nuances to everything, and it's not like I know a whole lot about that situation. I just know that there are some protections that ensure that, anything that they earn goes to a trust, and that only a small percentage goes to the parents to help fund like taking care of the child and things like that. But the rest of it, goes to a trust. And if they're 18, that was, I believe, the Cooper Act in specifically California. I don't know if that extends to all states or not. Anarchic Fox says parents of child actors do not have a great track record of making decisions in the best interest of their children. Exactly. Yeah. Jetta says protect the kids. Yeah. Agreed. I mean, that's why we've had the regulations that we've had in California, though not all states have followed suit, and it's hard to know what has been federalized, just from my limited knowledge so far. Actually, I'm saying Cooper. Is it Coogan? I think it was Jackie Coogan. Hold on. It was the one who played the kid with Charlie Chaplin. Yeah, it was Coogan Law, or the Coogan Act. It was a state law mandating that employers deposit 50% of a minor's gross earnings into a blocked trust known as a Coogan account to protect their income until adulthood. That's by SAG-AFTRA. It was enacted in 1939 after silent film star Jackie Coogan discovered his mother and stepfather had squandered his entire childhood fortune. He was like one of the earliest child actors ever. There was a digital update. So the law has been expanded to include child content creators and family bloggers. Really? Ensuring digital ad revenue and variant deals are legally protected? Let me see that. Hold up. Child content creator rights. Child content creator rights. Let's take a look at that. This is in 2025. Interesting. New laws protect content creators that are minors. This was 16 states have introduced legislation requiring trust accounts for minor content creators' earnings, following pioneering laws in Illinois, Minnesota, and California that establish protections for young influencers in the digital economy. They are modeled after the Coogan Law. Takedown procedures vary significantly by state, with Utah placing responsibility on creators, Arkansas splitting duties between platforms and creators, and Montana focusing on platform-centric requirements for content removal. I'm sorry, I put this on the wrong tab. I should have brought this on the other tab. Here, what I'll do is I'll just throw this in the side chat that I'm looking at. Jedi says, if I remember right, like 43 states still allow child brides because the GOP won't let that law be removed. Yikes. There have been a lot of GOP pushback to some really disturbing crap related to that. Anyway, that is a side tangent, and we are short on time because I want to finish essentially how this affects today. So what concerns remain with Wizards of the Coast? So I'm going to pull up the timeline for now, but we will get back. I hate when it does this. Let's go back. There we go. All right. We will get back to that in just a minute. So what concerns remain with Wizards of the Coast? We still have labor disputes. So though United Wizards of the Coast has officially unionized, they still have to engage in talks to address the problems that led to unionization in the first place. So the source that I am using for this is this one. So the union listed 7 reasons why it was organizing, saying, that the values have not aligned with their employees, and that the list encompassed only some of the issues the group faced. So what started union talks was the fact that Hasbro had huge layoffs, and it was sudden with 0 protections. So after 2 rounds of Hasbro's mass layoffs that impacted 2,000 employees, it reduced 1/3 of Hasbro's workforce. This included Wizards of the Coast, and they were hit hard. The staff want better layoff protections so they're not in constant fear of job insecurity. The actual unionizing accelerated after inconsistent policies on remote versus return to office work. Let me make sure that you can see this. All right. Yeah, let's blow this up a little bit. I'm gonna do this and pull. Oops. Nope, that's not what I want. Here we go. Pull this so you can see a little bit more. Okay. Hopefully you'll be able to read that. So this just kind of goes over what they're looking for. So they want the better layoff protection, saying they currently live in fear of suddenly losing their jobs. And the company is now instituting mandatory return to office, and workers are asking for remote work protections. I'll go into the details of that. So after inconsistent policies on remote versus return to office work, the company, Wizards of the Coast, eventually pushed a nearly full return to office demand for all of Wizards of the Coast, limiting the company's hiring pools to just like the local Seattle area, and going back on remote work promises since Magic the Gathering Arena expanded through the pandemic. So most of the work for developing Magic the Gathering Arena occurred remotely because it was during the pandemic. And staff want remote work protections as long as they meet management's production goals. They say that they have met and exceeded the production goals given by their executives. So they don't see a need to do a return to office when they are working so well remotely. And we all know for some people, working remotely is a necessity in order to like manage their lives. For me personally, I have chronic illness issues that make it so I have to work at home. Um, I currently do gig work, although the gigs have been pretty. Uh, haven't been able to find them mostly lately, um, and I'm having to create like uh, you know um, bits of content to sell uh, as a tutor because people aren't wanting to hire a tutor directly. Um, it's just people, we just don't have the money. Nobody has the money, you know? Um, we have, uh, aside from the remote um, working conditions, it sounds like somebody joined me. Oh, we have a jester. Yeah, true. Wow. Oh, hold up 1 second. People can't hear you. Let me make sure that. Okay. Capture audio. Why can they not hear you? Discord voice. Why do they not hear you? They can't hear Jester. Why? Why can they not hear you? They can't hear Jester.
Is it
I'm looking
because
at it.
I have way too quiet of a voice and you need to
No, you're
boost
just
it?
no, you're just straight up muted. I see the audio levels coming in, so there shouldn't be a reason why nobody can hear it. Let's see, Discord voice should be coming through. I might just have to re-add the source. So let me delete it and then I'll add the source again and then maybe it'll work. Um, just give me a minute. So I'll just add the source again. I'll make sure everything is good to go. Capture audio, and we're gonna put this all the way in the back so it doesn't take up the whole thing. Sorry, hold on. I know this looks really bad. Give me a second. What just happened?
Oops.
Oh, it went into background. That's why. Okay, bring all the way down. Come on. This is being stubborn. This is not good. All right, here we go. There. All right. Now talk. Let's see if they can hear you.
Testing,
now talk. Let's see if they can hear you.
Do I exist?
Testing,
Testing,
Let's see if they can hear you.
Do I exist?
Let's see if they can hear you.
Do I exist?
I hear an echo. I hear
Oh
an
my.
echo.
The sultry sounds of shenanigans. I love it.
Is there still an echo? Let's see. If I just mute it, so it might just be coming through my thing. If I mute it, do you still hear an echo, guys? Or is it not good? Should only be capturing.
And now I'm too loud.
it is a little loud but audible, and you don't hear your. I can just pull that down. That's easier. Oh yeah, because when I added it, it just went back to normal. Here, I'll fix it. That's totally fixable. As long as there's no echo. I don't want there to be an echo. I'll put it about level. Okay. There we go. So sorry, Jester. I apologize.
You're fine. I'm sorry to your viewers that they have to hear me now. Although apparently Fox loves my voice.
Of course. To tangent. Yeah, what are we without tangents? Last poor tangent. I knew them well.
We're stealing the tangents from Ember.
I
Tis the circle of...
Yeah, I do want a tangent emoji, but I feel like that would be stealing it if I made it like a literal like tangent line.
So what we do is we put a tangent line on a pirate flag and absolutely own it, and then Ember will love it.
We could do I've called it a tangerine or a tangerino sometimes. So you could do instead of just a circle, you make it like a tangerine and then a tangent line on the edge of the tangerine.
Okay, Jedi is onto something, especially with the amount of times I was making that joke.
A tangent.
When Ember was live, every time they would talk about people being here for the tangents, I would be like, I keep showing up. You keep saying they'll be here, but I haven't seen one yet.
Where's the tangents? I'm here for the tangents.
Yeah, where are they?
The thing is I'm a little worried about how that would look if I just have a custom emoji of just a dark person. Especially because have you noticed that my streams tend to be pretty white? I feel really bad about that.
I mean, that is not a product of you. That's a product of the atheist community not having a strong showing of the, everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Which is,
well, it's
honestly,
a combination. Yeah, like I want more.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of that cross between secular humanism and tabletop gaming, and like role play gaming.
Yeah.
And both communities are pretty lacking in the person of color representation.
Honestly, we just lack color in general, and that's a problem.
Yep. So, yeah. Anyway, I do want to let's finish this up real quick, and then we can have a party because I want to get this done before 10:30. So we have the whole reason behind unionizing in the first place. So these are all their concerns. There was the remote work issues. The staff want clear guidelines and worker protections around generative AI and the ability to push back on its use if it's deemed to be the wrong tool for the task at hand. You make sure that you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. So you know that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast are going crazy with AI, and there's zero protections for it. Here's a big one that is just a huge problem in the game industry. Staff want protections around workload expectations to reduce deadline crunches. So, crunches are periods of mandatory overtime leading up to a deadline. Unregulated crunches can be constant, have poor overtime pay, and negatively impact the final product. So, crunches hurt everybody. And we want to make sure that people have more protections against crunches. You know, some are necessary in the gaming industry. I get it. But having constant long-term crunches, I mean, it overworks people. I mean, in some industries, it works them to death, particularly in Japan, where the work culture is just extreme. Lastly, let's see, we've got a couple. Staff want ownership of personal creative endeavors done in their free time with their own resources. Hasbro's policy is apparently an industry standard. So here's the thing. When it says that Hasbro can claim ownership of personal projects made in employees' free time with their own resources, this doesn't make sense to me if it's saying that the employees are using the employees' resources to make their stuff, and Hasbro can claim it. That just doesn't make sense. So I'm thinking that it means Hasbro's, like, when employees make personal projects in their own free time using Hasbro's resources, because then that would kind of make sense.
Nope.
No?
If you have a dream, this is pretty standard in a lot of industries like this. If you have a dream and you write that dream down on a little yellow notepad and Hasbro sees it, they can take it.
Okay, well, yeah, no, stealing ideas, I get it. But what I'm talking about is like personal projects, like the person has been working on a project, and what is it like? They can claim ownership if the employee is using a company computer, or like, I'm trying to figure out exactly whose resources they're using.
That's why I said a little yellow legal pad, because it's your idea, your resources, and Hasbro says, you work for us, therefore, because you had that idea while working for us, we have a right to claim it because anti-compete, or because of anti-competition,
the anti-competition
ideas.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I have seen a lot of that, and that is awful. Honestly, I think the U.S. needs to crack down on these anti-competition stipulations in contracts.
Once again, way to go, California. This came into my orbit because of the Bricks and Minifigs thing. One of their stores told them they wanted out and stopped paying. Which there were, like, technically there was a mutual separation. And they rebranded. And Bricks and Minifigs went, no, you're under us. And they said, no, you can't. We have a non-compete. And they said, yeah, well, you're California-based and we're California-based. And California says that non-competes are illegal.
Oh.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which.
Love that.
Incidental, so everybody knows how this works. If you sign a contract with an illegal clause, it doesn't void the whole contract. it voids that clause.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, Anarchic Fox and Left-Handed Jedi. So this is what I'm trying to figure out. Is it like as long as they work on this product, on whatever project they're doing, is it like on site or it's using their computer or something like that that makes it so Hasbro can own it? Or is it just as long as they are employed, no matter where they are, no matter what resources they use, even if it's not Hasbro's resources, can they claim ownership to that person's personal project? I
It's the latter.
I want to look into it to double check. I don't have time to
Okay.
right now, and my back's hurting, so I wouldn't be able to even fully comprehend it, even if I were to research it right now. But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
so I'm gonna do a little bit of research later, and we'll get into it. And if anybody has any sources that kind of go into this, particularly if it's like related to Hasbro's uh, non-competition clause and being like you can like no matter what you make and no matter where you are and no matter what resources you use, even if it's not our own, we own that. I would like to see a source that talks about that. Hopefully a reputable source. Anarchic Fox says functionally, Hasbro says they own employees. Thoughts? That's where they want to go for sure. Jedi says to keep it, you have to do it off site and not using their materials. But yeah, they want to own everything, even the stuff in your head. They are trying to seize if you are an employee, but they are being fought on that front, as far as I know. I'll research too. Yeah, let's see if we can get any details on that and get some confirmation. I mean, I'm sure that Hasbro would like to make it so that no matter what the employee does, as long as they're employed, they own everything the employee does.
Mhm.
But I want to double check. And I'll do that later when I have a better brain. All this research I was doing it like and writing it up while I wasn't in pain, so I was able to do it. I was tired, but I wasn't in pain. So
This
let's
is fair.
see. Other than, let's see, there's staff seek to focus on partnerships and products that grow games sustainably to avoid short-term profit-driven decisions. I love this. I mean, this is the entire problem behind corporations. Like, no matter the industry, they want all of their products to have good quality like a decade down the line. So this has been a huge problem ongoing. So they want to focus on game sustainability. I asked, so this is Kotaku. The author says, I asked Valentine and White, which are hold on, let's pull this up. Let's see where they are. Does it say exactly who Valentine and White are? This was by Rebecca Valentine. Is that for the first round? Replay, It doesn't really give me a. Anyway, I know that Valentine and White are related to the Union. I just don't know exactly how. They're related to the Magic the Gathering Arena Union, or at least Wizards Coast. I asked Valentine and White for a bit more specificity on that last point. Valentine pointed back to layoffs, mandatory mandatory return to office, and generative AI use as decisions made for short-term profit that ultimately harmed the game and team in the long term. He says the workers want to be able to weigh in when these sorts of things are proposed by management. there are a lot of times when these sort of decisions are made to chase a dollar rather than to think about what our product is going to look like 10 years from now and whether this decision is contributing to that. So we want to be able to say, we're people making the game, we're engaging with the community, we're seeing the feedback from the decisions that are being made, and we have some information that could be providing to those decisions. So these leaders urge Magic the Gathering arena players and fans to help out by raising their voices and expressing support for the union directly to Hasbro, both by signing the union's public petition to Hasbro for voluntary recognition, which I think that already happened. So that's already passed. So that doesn't matter. But keep an eye out for what they're going to do. With talks in the future, and show Hasbro with your wallet what labor regulations mean to you. So speaking up through social channels like Reddit, your voices really matter, especially right now when Hasbro is trying to decide what to do in response to this union. If you ask them to step up, they're going to listen to the player base, right? Like, you are the person we're making this product for. You have a lot of power right now.
That reminds me. Where is it?
What reminds you?
Cancel. Let's see. Other.
Oh, are you canceling your D&D Beyond subscription?
Yeah, thank you. I've been meaning to do that.
Yeah, that is that's something that I intend to cover.
Dynamic.
Oh, we just got a raid.
Unions.
Good to see you, Mark Reed. Mark Reed. Hey, Raiders. Lovely to have you. We were just finishing up talking about the labor disputes currently going on. Here, let me change it. So this that I've got pulled up here is the timeline, which we covered at the beginning. The timeline went from 2023 to 2026, and so now we're covering the stuff that is still affecting today. So that would include the senior AI engineer listing and the Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering Union, and then also this might affect Hasbro, where they are trying to force their child actors to sign over their rights to have their voice replicated by AI in the future. So very not cool. All right, let's see here. I want to let's look at the comments. Anarchic Fox says they claim that personal projects using the employees' free time and personal resources is still theirs. Seems to be the claim. The Hasbro OGL gives them that option functionally. The Darrington Press OGL is actually worse, though. Whoa, but people don't talk about that one because they are not as large of a capitalist venture. I did not know that. Crazy. Fact-checking Hasbro's internal policies is challenging from outside of the company, for sure. Yep, they need to break up monopolies. Seriously, agreed, Jedi. And good to see you, Ember. Good to see you, Mark. Yeah, I'm so glad that you guys would be interested in this. Hey, Secular Pianist, good to see ya. We've got Wolfo.
Ow!
You are a dag, and I don't think I know what a dag is. I'm sorry, Mark. Is this an Australian thing? Tell Hasbro they should bite their cocks off if they want to feature their cocks comb off.
No. No, Chris Cox, their
Oh,
CEO.
they're good, Chris Cox.
Or let me see. I want to double check that. I think it's Chris Cox. Yep, Chris Cox. Oh, sorry. I misspelled it. His is spelled like the bird.
Wow, I forgot that. Yeah. I remember looking at that when I was looking at the AI listing stuff, and I was like, boy, that's interesting. Yeah, so this is 100% an Australian thing. So I'm trying to figure out what a dag is. Is that like
Give me a second. Let's
a hot
see.
dog?
Aussie.
I don't know. I don't know what a dag is.
An
Enlighten me.
affectionate or light-hearted insult for someone who is unfashionable, socially awkward, or a lovable dork.
So I'm a dork. I'm a lovable dork. Okay. Actually, I have been
If you
told that all
call
my life.
someone a bit of if you call someone a bit of a dag, you mean they march to the beat of their own drum and don't take themselves too seriously.
I'll take that as a
Uh,
compliment.
I absolutely definitely will live by this.
That's great. That's great. I love it. If I could show my face on camera, because I was like, I'd be more presentable. Boy, you would 100% call me an awkward dork all the time.
Uh,
I feel bad that I
possibly
can't show my
among
face
other things.
more often. It honestly, if I had to do the streams where I could, I could only do the stream and show my face, streaming would be like once a month thing because I just straight up I don't have the energy to make myself look nice enough to stream like same day. It doesn't happen.
Right. I mean, I always look like me, so it is what it is. I just don't show myself on stream because, well, I tend to talk about things that I shouldn't, like my employer sucking balls.
True.
I
True.
guess technically my past employer, but I was told today that I could just walk back in and have my job back, so.
Even though you quit.
Yep.
Like, oh, you
I,
quit for this reason? Well, you could still come back if you wanted.
I mean, I can apparently just walk back in the same way I walked right out middle of my shift. If this tells you how desperate my employer is. However, they still will only pay shit wages, so.
That's the thing. Like, the whole point was that you were trying to consolidate things so that you could make up for bad tips.
Yeah.
And not lose money doing what's the word I'm looking for? Doing deliveries with your car.
Yeah,
exactly.
and get the
Well, you could
shifts
come
where.
back to us, but we're not going to fix the problem.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, I mean, it's a state that will never unionize, but
Yeah.
you know, we're actually more famous for lighting off disunification. So,
Boy. Okay. Well, let me do a wrap up here because I am short on time. I got to go pretty soon here. My back is giving me a deadline. So the thing that I wanted to cover with the whole problem of the senior AI listing is it could automate dungeon masters, and my source for this and shows the listing. Let's do this. And let's make sure you can see it. Yes, you can see it. The article is by Ian World, and the title is Wizards of the Coast is hiring a senior AI engineer for customer-facing features. This was June 11th, 2026. And this is the listing. You can clearly see it was listed by Wizards of the Coast, so this is for their product. This would be a senior AI developer who focuses on delivering end-to-end agentic architectures and trained models for our game partners to use as tools and customer-facing features. You will help grow our capabilities in AI technologies, to build better development tools and new experiences. Passionate about using responsible AI to provide useful tools and processes for our partners while ensuring human creativity is protected. Sure. Not for the customer, though. What you'll do, you'll work with internal teams to implement AI technologies in our tools and products. You develop AI techniques to create best-in-class solutions for our partners. They say they want to advocate for responsible and ethical AI, working closely with teams to build positive and safe systems for usage across our products. But what they have already shown, like the whole thing with the NPC AI initiatives, tells me it's not going to be responsible, at least not for the customers, because they're going to design, build, and deploy scalable systems for intelligent generation. This is very key. Intelligent generation of player assistance tutorials and NPC behaviors. That is the big one. And we're going to talk about why. So these descriptions could entirely replace dungeon masters if they go that far. This is a potential opened by the parts of the listing that say the senior AI developer should focus on delivering end-to-end agentic architectures and trained models for our game partners to use as tools and customer-facing features, and the scalable systems for intelligent generation of player assistance tutorials and NPC behaviors. So when they say NPC behaviors and agentic architectures, this translates to AI generating NPC roleplay. The AI would loop player text and voice inputs through a large language model trained on the Dungeons and Dragons lore. The engine then would generate reactive behaviors. So as you're on the virtual tabletop, they would generate reactive behaviors, mechanical skill checks, and spoken dialogue according to the player's input on the virtual tabletop. So as they're like doing stuff on the virtual tabletop, it would have these NPCs give reactive behaviors. It would also give you skill checks with the NPCs, and it would also it would generate spoken dialogue. Then we have the next bit. So there are two more points. The intelligent generation of text, dialogue, and audio can translate to scene narration. So for the virtual tabletop, if a map is tagged with basic room attributes when a player enters a room, the backend engine reads the tags. So for example, the tags could be like damp, goblins, hidden trap. So it's saying this room is damp, this room is supposed to have goblins, this room is supposed to have a hidden trap. And then it would use that to dictate a full description that, alongside the generated text, could be read aloud by an AI voice clone, which would essentially be doing the other main part of a dungeon master's job. The last bit is the, quote, real-time let's see, trying to get the real-time bot behaviors. It
This is appalling.
is. Sorry?
This is appalling.
It is. It is very appalling. So,
Although, also a little hilarious if you've seen like those AI chat story things, and because to AI, it's just throwing it in a blender. It's like gosh, your viewers won't know these, but maybe you should start sharing them. The fortune cookies you do
oh.
that are like the that's essentially what you're gonna get out of this, because it has no clue the context. It'll be good for like a post or two, and then the third post, you'll suddenly, instead of being in that dank, dark dungeon, you'll be out in a forest,
Yeah,
and you'll
because
have
it
no
doesn't track.
clue how you got there.
Yeah, it doesn't track. That being said, I imagine that the engineer will probably be focused on trying to make it so that things are coherent, especially if this is like a paid subscription service sort of thing, because people don't want to pay
Probably.
for shit. But that does mean that it totally, it totally knocks out the dungeon master. Obviously, a person is going to be more fun than whatever the AI could come up with, because the AI, it can only go based off of a database, and that means that it's taking an average of this language that's been written, and it the hooks that it makes are like boring. The descriptions are all the same. It makes everything like feel like cookie cutter. Whereas a person, if they are creative, can come up with some really engaging, unique descriptions each time and really immerse the player. And obviously, everything can be done like on the fly with a person, like, whereas with AI, if it doesn't fit its parameters, then it doesn't understand, especially if you want to like negotiate anything, or let's say that you want to give feedback, like, we can give feedback to our game masters, saying, that I like this adventure, but I don't like dungeon crawls, or I want more role play in it, or I want, to be more clarification on these rules, things like that are very easy to parse out with the human, but it's very difficult to parse out with AI. And you don't get that personability with the person, like, without having that social factor, with your game master or dungeon master. It like kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing these group tabletop games. Like, if I wanted to play a solo video game, I'd play a solo video game. I don't want my tabletop experience to be, without having fun with a group of people and a person, playing the adventure.
Yeah. Oh
See.
God. Mark is also onto another thing. You
I feel like AI would be easy to manipulate by players that exploit like the worst kind of new DM. Yeah. I have trouble seeing how AI can actually handle pacing and tension building in a game. I don't know either. I feel like the technology is way too behind right now to do that. And
Yeah.
and that leads me to the other part. So the agent based workflows. Let's see. I was looking at this might have been for the principal AI engineer included some of this where the principal AI engineer listing included real-time bot frameworks and agent-based workflows, and they would translate to reading and responding to live player state data and behavior input. So on the virtual tabletop, this could lead to AI generating new parts of a session that change the pacing. So, for example, you have the back-end engine reading that players are standing in the same spot without any input for a certain length of time. And then the AI injects new skill checks, NPC introductions, or some other random encounter to push the pacing, which, given what we know about AI, would probably be super random and wouldn't make sense for that particular environment. Let's see here. But that was the main stuff that I wanted to cover as far as the AI. I can give my take. Jester, did you want to give your take before I jumped into it?
I think I just did.
Oh, you did? It's all
Yeah.
concerning and you hate it?
Yep. But also comedic in how terribly it's probably going to bomb. Even with
Yeah.
the people who try to use it, they're going to be like, the setting just changed. Wait, I thought we were fighting a beholder. Now we seem to be fighting a Tarask.
Yeah. Or wait, that didn't follow the rules. Why didn't my hit land? What's going on? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll give my take. The above concerns are enough. So particularly the labor disputes and the unregulated use of AI that could lead to automating most, if not all, of a dungeon master's responsibilities. They are enough that I am open to looking for virtual tabletop role playing game alternatives. I am currently a free player and aspiring game master. Hopefully, when I'm in a spot where I have the physical capabilities to do so and continue the one shot that I've been planning. And that means that I wouldn't be able to afford to make most of the purchases necessary to use D&D Beyond's available books without friends sharing them, which is currently what's going on. And if Wizards of the Coast decides to fully monetize all of D&D Beyond services, I'd be forced out anyway. So if I were able to afford Wizards of the Coast products now or in the future, I would need the above concerns to be, or the aforementioned concerns to be addressed before I felt it ethical to purchase anything from them. So I did purchase like Baldur's Gate 3. I would no longer be making purchases like that are directly related to Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro. I will be transitioning to other systems like Pathfinder that are based off of the same free rules. So that'd be Pathfinder Second Edition, or some other more ethical indie games. To hear, it sounds like Darrington Press has some ethical issues as well. If you want me to look into that, I can do some research on that. I'll make a note to do so. So, in another game that I'm playing, we are currently using the Dagger Heart system because it apparently like synergizes well the uh, with the setting that we're doing. But if there are problems with that, then I would not want to use Dagger Heart for my own games, essentially. Thankfully, a lot of the system seems to be available for free when I look it up. So, like, whenever I look at Dagger Heart, it's just like free stuff. So I wouldn't have to be paying for anything. I wouldn't have to support them just to use it. But it does suck to hear that there could be, likewise, some major problems with trying to claim their employees' personal projects, even if they're, made with the employees' personal resources. So I can look into that. I will look into what exactly is meant by those, like, say, the non-compete clauses that make it so that a person, an employee in the company can't make any personal project at all, no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing, no matter what resources they're using, without Hasbro claiming ownership to it. I would like to see what I can confirm for that. But let's see, we have. Yeah, they got to start screwing their player base. Good luck. Thank you, Jedi.
Yeah, Dagger Heart is fairly new to my understanding.
Yeah, it was created as an alternative to D&D, and it's got its benefits. I like the idea. I think it gives it makes it easier for, like, say, combat to be more about players working together.
Okay.
And it makes it so that not it makes it, I would say that it makes it more like you're writing a what's the word I'm looking for, a collaborative story with the game master. So I think that they do a pretty good job at focusing on the story aspect of it. And people get to participate while being, cooperative and things like that. So Mark says, I liked Pathfinder. It was basically 3.5e with some of the negatives patched. Very good. Love to hear that. Jedi says, my daughter plays Daggerheart. Very cool. Very cool. Sounds like a YA fantasy novel.
I was looking, and unfortunately, the Pathfinder, I think, second edition Humble Bundle is no longer available.
Oh.
So,
Humble Bundle?
sorry, guys. Yep. Humble Bundle is like a charity type thing that uses keys to raise money. Like, I don't know how ethical they are in total, but they bundle a whole bunch of content through digital keys, sell them to you, and it, like, all bundled up, and the money that you send them goes to charity. Now, again, I am bad at research. My ADHD is such that when I go to do deep research, I will start by researching the ethics of Humble Bundle, and 2 hours later, I will be telling you about very detailed information about the Elder Scrolls lore.
Right. I get you.
So,
That is one thing I'm able. Once I start on something, I am very focused to finish it, and it's a problem. So, like, if I'm like, boy, I need to go to sleep, not 2 hours later. Wow, I really should go to sleep. An hour later, boy, I need to lie down, and I just can't stop. I just keep working on it. But that's if I'm
I'm
like
with
really
that.
on fire.
I'm with that, or I'm like that with projects. But if it's like research, my brain shuts down at some point and determines that this is a task for someone else. And
Mm-hmm.
it's annoying because I'm like, brain, we're smarter than this. And my brain goes, but I don't want to be.
Yeah, I want to be average. My brain's like, I want to
Yeah.
be non-functional. Like, I'd rather be totally fogged up and not paying attention. That's the thing. Like, when I get into my research mode, it's like just total focus for hours. But getting to that
Mhm.
can take months.
Oof.
Let's see. I don't think we got any questions. Let me just double check. Yeah, no questions. So remember, guys, we are about to finish up here. If you have any questions, send them my way. Yeah, as far as I can tell, Mark, Daggerheart is like the game system, but you can really do whatever world you want with it. Like in my case, we're using Dolmenwood, and we're just like we're playing Dolmenwood, but the the game mechanics is with Daggerheart. And yeah,
Okay.
it's very easy to use as far as I can tell. Now the game master that I have has been using Foundry virtual tabletop, which you have to pay for, and then also it has like this mod on it that's like a Daggerheart mod, and it like tracks everything automatically for you. It's very easy. The only downside is that you cannot take your character sheet with you off of the virtual tabletop. Like you can't log into it when the game master closes the virtual tabletop. So in order for you to see your character page, the VTT has to always be up, which, that requires the game master to be logged in and keep it up on the computer. As far as I can tell, that's not cool. I think D&D Beyond is a little better about that because you can just like look at your character page at any time as long as you have internet connection
Well,
and their site is functional.
D&D is a D&D Beyond is a dedicated setup.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that the downfall started like the true point of no return was when D&D bought D&D Beyond.
That was yeah, that was not good. Is very not good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna finish up with a quick conclusion here. So stream isn't quite over yet, but we'll finish up with our main conclusion here, and then we'll sign off. So now that remember, give me the whatever you want me to cover next as far as topics. Do you want me to look into Daring to Impress next? Do you want me to look into Pathfinder next? What are some other companies that are involved in role play games that you would like me to investigate as much as I can? Remember, if it's not public knowledge, I mean, I can't access it. I'm just, you know, I'm just some lady, on the internet. It's not like I have special sources, but I can do the
Hey,
work for you.
lady.
I'm just a little lady, just a little guy.
I
Uh,
I can do that one better, but it's late and I
no
wasn't
worries.
trying to derail the stream.
It's all right. It happens anyway. If you didn't derail it, I derail it. Okay. So, last bits. As for
Ooh, wait. I'm sorry. Now I do have to throw one in.
oh,
Much like any good TTRPG table, this channel does not have rails.
yes. Mark Reese says, "Aren't we all just some lady on the internet?" Wolf was going to join the voice chat real quick. Oh man! Right as we're trying to wrap up. I love you, Wolfo, but we are wrapping up. Okay. So
He's making fun of doing it before.
So as for Wizards of the Coast's parent company, Hasbro, any company as gigantic as theirs will always be unethical in their practices. It's impossible to reach those profit margins without discarding ethics and harming people. But when it reaches monopoly status, it's hard to boycott them entirely. I think as Hasbro
Yes.
they haven't quite done enough monopoly consumption to make it so that it's there are zero ways that you can avoid them. However, as far as I can tell, when I know, where possible, I intend to avoid Hasbro's products and services for as long as possible. Just if I can prevent supporting a major corporation, I will. Because fuck corporations. I'm not afraid to say that.
Personally, I think that we may have to, in the future, create a government agency to either highly regulate or directly take over digital storefronts.
You're saying that you
It
want
just
the
seems
government to you want the government to take over digital storefronts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want them to take over, but it's hard to think because, like, part of the problem with how these companies monopolize these days is that with digital goods, you can just create your own storefront and then it makes it very easy for you to create a monopoly. Like, do you
Especially with
think
social
that
media.
if Pathfinder did their version of D&D Beyond with their digital storefront, that it would work?
Probably
Like,
not with D&D Beyond's momentum. Yeah.
yeah. And part of that is that Pathfinder's just not as popular. They don't have the name brand, but there is a large part of that once Pathfinder had their stuff out to where you could use it in a digital format, people would be crying for them to put it on D&D Beyond instead of their own
Yeah.
storefront.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
that is tough. Well, so speaking of ethical consumerism, it's unfortunately, at least in the US, impossible to be a fully ethical consumer unless you are literally entirely off grid due to how ubiquitous monopolies are here. And trust busting doesn't look like it'll be happening anytime soon unless it provides a direct benefit to this administration. The perfect, sorry?
sorry guys, this administration is for creating trusts.
Oh, for sure.
They
Especially
are
trust
into trust busting, just not busting the evil trust. They're all like, hey, there's a not so bad alternative out there. We need to fix that.
Well, it's about like um how can he influence deals to make it beneficial to him? He doesn't give a shit about monopolies unless they directly affect him. So, and that's what we've
Well,
seen. He only threatens to trust bust when he wants something from them. Which,
I'm more saying he's not busting trusts in general. He's busting the trusts that aren't his trust. He's using the administration to create
I mean, he's using them, yeah, to create his own monopoly. But he also, I mean, he'll let other monopolies run wild. It really just seems to be about whether or not he can get a benefit from it. Like that's the bottom line. Like when, and I think it was either, I think it was CBS, when their parent company wanted to merge with another. That was the whole reason why Stephen Colbert was. Let's see. I hope I'm making the right one. I think it's CBS.
This is it. That you are on the money. Fortunately, sounds like Colbert's found a new home. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I knew it was yeah. So CBS and its parent company Paramount officially canceled The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and it was because it was a financial decision prompted by, the merger that Trump said he was going to block because he wanted. He was like, "You can do the merger if you get rid of Stephen Colbert because he has thin skin." And I think there was like some other thing that was about to benefit him. I'll have to, look it up. Honestly, it's all gross. It's all corrupt. Everything about the U.S. is corrupt right now. I mean, the U.S. has been corrupt for a while, especially since Citizens United and all the dark money funneling and people corporations being able to lobby, like all of it, very corrupt. But the corruption has just like grown exponentially.
Yes.
But
carefully and intelligently do your own research. And if you're not the smartest researcher in the world like me, find somebody who you trust to explain it to you.
Yeah. Always look at somebody's if you can find like a video or a stream where they go over this. Like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post all of the sources that I've used in the description, and then you can go through the sources yourself to double check that what I said is true, and it can also lead you to more sources if you want to find out more details.
Yes. This is just like the birth of Wikipedia, where Wikipedia is an okay, valid, and perfectly amazing way to start researching something. The best thing you can do is read the top part of it, get a baseline idea of what you're looking, what you have, and then go scroll all the way to the bottom, skip all of the breakdown Wikipedia does, and they have this little thing called sources at the bottom.
Yeah,
Go
references.
click that.
Yep.
Just go click all the references. That's what you want.
Those little numbers that they put at the end of the sentences, those are the footnotes that tells you where the reference is. Always look for that. Those are the citations. I always click on those. Unfortunately, a lot of those, because it's usually edited by like somebody who works in an academic setting, like someone who's like an expert, because usually you have to, these days, you have to have like some sort of credentials that show that you know the subject that the article is about. And that means that they will have access to a library that may not necessarily be publicly free and available. So sometimes the references are like about books that you can't freely access online, or it's an in-print reference. Anyway, this is a huge tangent. I'm going to do one more look through the comments and read off the relevant ones. And then we're going to finish up with the last bit of the conclusion. There is corrupt, Mark says, and then there is decadent corruption of this administration. 100%. 100%. Wolfo says, I'm only a little corrupt. Don't let me in with those guys. Good to see you, Al. Thanks for joining.
Wolfo, how many watches are you wearing right now? You can keep going. He'll answer. Okay. But I haven't joined the VC.
Oh no. Yeah, sorry. So anyway, yeah. So unless there's a benefit to the administration, we're not going to see trust busting anytime soon. But the perfect, however, is the enemy of the good. And I'd rather make some beneficial impact than none at all. And, trying to be like, well, it's inconvenient, or if I don't get it, if I don't have perfect ethical consumption, then it's not worth trying. I want to make any inroads that I can to ethical consumption, even if it's just a little bit. So, for example, there are some foods that are owned by monopoly parent companies where I can't afford the indie version. I just don't have the money for it. But if there is a type of good where there's an indie version that I can afford, then I will purchase that. So, even though my entire fridge may not be full of ethically sourced goods, I can try to make some bits of my fridge ethically sourced. So, if I have the time, resources, and knowledge, I plan to use them as ethically as I can. And now you have the knowledge to decide what's important to you and how you'll respond to the actions of the big gaming companies around you. So that brings me once again to our questions of the week, which are, I was doing so well, I didn't yawn the entire time. What's your take on the ethics of Wizards of the Coast and or Hasbro? How has learning their controversial business practices affected your outlook of and consumer habits around them? So, let me know in the comments what you think. And damn, it's because I'm running out of air. I can't breathe through my nose. At least we've not got refrigerators sponsored by Nestle. Oh no. What are you saying? Let's see. Secular Feelinist says, how the fuck is that even legal? What are you referring to? Must be something I wasn't looking at. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna end the Q&A. Oh, sending the Pinkertons after people. Yeah. You must be going back to the beginning of the live, yeah.
Monopolies are easier to control. That's how it's legal. At least they think they're easier to control. It never actually works out that way, but
yeah.
It's legal because consolidating power makes it seem easier for those in control to control, but it doesn't actually work that way.
Yeah, the wealthy can pretty much do whatever they want in the United States, as we've seen. Until people are like, well, you're not useful to me anymore. And then all their dirty laundry gets aired. 1 second. I got stuff in my eye. Ow. Okay. Well, that has been a long stream. We're at the 2 hours and 40 minutes mark. And my back is killing me. I meant to leave an hour ago, pretty much. 40 minutes ago. Oh my gosh, what's going on with my eyes? No, it's
your
both
time. Nope, your time always goes and balloons the moment I join your stream.
I think that could be said when any guests join, because guests, if they're gonna participate, I mean, it's gonna be longer than if it was just one person alone. So,
but I derail it as well, way more than your other guests. I know this. I am self-aware.
Are you sure about that? Because I encourage derailment. I'm an enabler, like I'm doing right now.
Okay, well, let's go not murder your back.
Yes, I need to wrap up. So, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Please remember that there are more topics that I can cover. As far as stuff that we're going to do that I can cover on like Tuesdays and things like that. I mean, I'd be open to covering like any company that you are curious about the controversies, boycotts, how are they ethical? You know, if you want to know if a company has been engaging in ethical practices or not, you can tell me the name that you want me to look into. I will probably focus more on gaming companies first. So role-playing game companies, things like that, but just general companies as well. But if there are, requests for other companies, I can also look into those. It's just fine. That's no issue. In fact, I've had to do.
We have art too.
Sorry?
I think we have our two to look into to start.
Well, so we had a mention of Darrington Press, and
Mhm.
then I also need to double check uh, the wording on clauses about um, like clauses like Hasbro's policy to own personal creative endeavors done in the employee's free time. I want to see if there are any stipulations to that, or if it's literally just any project with any resource.
Here, let me actually just do the coverage on Wolfo's suggestion of next up.
Oh, Electronic Arts.
Yup. Fuck you.
EA. I think we all know EA. I don't even know if it's worth it.
Evil assholes.
I think it's so obvious that they're unethical that it's just like not even a question.
Yep. It frustrates me because BioWare and a number of the other studios that they had taken were just some of my favorites. In fact, and I have a deep love for the Mass Effect series, but um, like they destroyed so much. In fact, the funny part is it wasn't even when they did the purchase that got them Mass Effect and BioWare. That wasn't even my top concern with hating them for that purchase, because because what they did is they bought the parent company of BioWare.
Yeah.
And in that they bought the parent company of Pandemic Studios, who made the PS2 versions of Star Wars Battlefronts.
Mm-hmm.
And those were actually my favorites. My favorite game of all time is the original Star Wars Battlefront. And I was so looking forward, they had for 3 a Jedi that was going to be lightsaberless. All force powers and CQC moves. He looked so cool. And then they bought the parent company and they just shut down Pandemic Studios the same day.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys, technically I could look into companies like EA, I could look into companies like Activision, but those would be monsters, and at a certain point I would have to like just straight up uh cut off like a time. Like I'd be like, I can't go further back than like 2010 because there's just too many problems, you know, like or like there'd be one that's like I can't even do a timeline. There's too much shit, you know. I can be
Where
like,
do I
here's what's
start?
currently wrong. So, uh,
How far back do I need to go? Or
yeah,
where do you need me to stop? Because I'm either starting at the beginning and I'm going to a point where it's just clear that they're never going to stop being evil, or we're going all the way back and we're cutting it off at some point.
Anarchic Fox says EA would have to be a multi-stream event even to cover the last year. To be honest, I know. Oh God, yeah. Sorry guys. Just EA alone would be awful. My conclusion would be they own everything. It's probably impossible to not get a game from them. Even like they'll even have those little indie studios that you think are cool that aren't doing like AAA games, and then you find out they're owned by EA, and you're like, "Fuck! What do you know? What do you do?"
Yep.
So for now, I've got Darrington Press. We can do that next, and while I'm covering Darrington Press, I will double check on that stipulation. We can do that in the same stream, but these will be spaced out between like chill game streams on Tuesdays because my brain needs the break. So
This sounds
all right.
wise. Also, Paizo.
Oh yeah,
Paizo is Pathfinder.
You want me to look into Paizo for a Pathfinder?
Yep.
All right.
I think it's fair that we should look at all the big three. That because I know Daggerheart is new, but they've risen quickly. So I think them, Pathfinder, and Wizards are the big three right now of tabletop.
Sure. All right. Well, what I could do is I'll have my patrons vote on which one comes first. So which one they want me to research and cover first. Antarctic Fox says Chaosium. Is that another publishing company? Oh, for Call of Cthulhu. I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's
makes
pretty
sense. Big. I am going to say though, if people want, I don't know the name of the company, but 40K looked into. Please understand that that is not an overlapping TTRPG system. They're big, but that's wargaming. It's very similar.
I mean, I'll cover all gaming, whatever you. I mean, some may be covered first, but it'll ultimately, like especially with gaming companies, I'll just if you are a supporter on my Patreon, which is only $1 per month, you will get to vote on which gets to be covered first. I will send a poll in the supporter Discord channel. So that
I more meant it as it would not be technically like thinking of it sub-series within the series. It would be it would not be part of the sub-series of this TTRPG for looking for a replacement to go to instead of D&D, because it's not the same. It's wargaming.
I'm kind of just doing a whole series about game companies. So I haven't made anything official. Maybe I should do something where it's all in a series. But I just decided Tuesdays at 8:00 are good. Although I did have to bump this one to 8:30 so that I could have some time to prep. So Games Workshop is so very British of a company. You're giving me too many suggestions. Fox, at this point, you gotta put it in the Discord. I am writing some of them down, so I've written down Darrington Press, Paizo, and Chaosium, and I'll let patrons vote.
I think that what Fox is doing right now is applying for the job of researcher.
You want to be a researcher, you 100% go for it.
There. I am maximum nerd.
If you want to do alternate D&D stream, do it when I have a day off. I can go over so many things. Oh, I know you can. Anarchic Fox was my game master. That was like, we'll do every system that isn't D&D. Like that's the opposite of D&D. That's focused on narrative, which I do love my narrative focus. So, okay. Well, it is.
DM me, Fox. DM me.
Yeah, you guys should be connected on Discord because I've got you both in ready to roleplay. So have at it. And I can bring it up on stream, and you can join me during a stream, and you make sure that you give me your schedule and all that. So, all right. It is almost 11:30, so I'm going to sign off. It has been a wonderful stream with you guys. Thanks so much for joining. I'm glad that we got a lot of people joining us today. Remember our question of the week, which is, what's your take on the ethics of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, and how has learning of their controversial business practice affected your outlook of and consumer habits around them? So let me know in the comments if you're watching this later. And 1 second, let me scroll down. I want to thank everybody who joined me today. If you enjoyed this, consider liking and commenting to leave a free tip. So the next time that we talk about this sort of thing that requires active discussion, more people will join. Please remember that everybody's opinions are their own. Mine are mine, theirs are theirs. Can doesn't share them, all that stuff. All claims need to be independently verified and fact-checked. I will make sure that all of the sources that I use are put in the description of this video. If you want more of me, I am now going live Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central to play games, learn things, and rant. Jester, is there anywhere you want to direct people? Or you have something coming up?
But things are in the works.
Very cool.
There are plans. However, I do want everybody, I do want to direct anybody that if you see Deviant Outcast on a stream or anywhere, tell her that you so wish to hear her expertise, opinion, and advice on Egyptology or any other subject that she cares to weigh in on.
In the biggest
this is entirely related to what is in the works, and I need your help because she doesn't think that you want to hear from her.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, everybody wants to hear from her. I don't know why she thinks that. Okay. Excellent. I can't find another live to raid that is currently on. At least YouTube is not showing me anything. But whoever you find later tonight, I hope you enjoy them. For everyone who made it this far, thank you for joining our chill, goofs, gaffs, and gabs. I hope it, excuse me. I'm so sorry, I ran out of breath. I hope it provided a chance for you to kick back and listen until you're ready to sleep, or at least kept you company for the evening. If I don't see you this Friday, we will meet again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central when we can resume our game when we get. Have a good night, everybody.